Happy holidays, friends. Today I am Rebal canning some potatoes, and that simply means it's not an approved method that I am using to can these potatoes. Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. I just want to thank all my old subscribers and welcome my new subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. So I have 150 pounds of raw potatoes to do something with. I am keeping about 30 to 40 pounds raw, and then I am processing the rest. Most of them are going to be canned, and this is how I'm going to do it. It's going to be a raw packed, not an approved method. So anytime I'm doing big batch canning, I like to oven sanitize my jars, and they are on 215 for 20 minutes. So here are my potatoes. I've washed, peeled, and started to quarter them up, and I'm going to cut them down to about 2 inches. That's about the size I like them, so they're not exactly so mushy. And then I have my jars here. I put a teaspoon of salt in each. I am using pink Himalayan salt in mine. You can use pickling salt. You don't want to use table salt, so any of that. And then I'm just going to drop my potatoes in, and let me show you a quick tip. Yeah, 1 is none and 2 is 1. I didn't really understand that saying until my tool broke. So I only had one of these, but I do have a substitute. I am going to use just my mini rubber spatula. That worked just as good in the jars because it's nice and flexible and it gets the job done. So I guess I might have had 2. So I'm going to get these filled up with my potatoes and get to the canning process. So just a quick tip that I use. I put my potatoes in about halfway. Then I put my hot water in about halfway as well. And then I start to settle my potatoes down, because that bottom layer, you want it as flat and as compact as possible. Start working those air bubbles out, and it helps you to get as much potatoes in your jars as you can possibly fit with 1 inch of headspace. So that's how I do it, and I find that I can get a lot more potatoes in when I start about halfway and start kind of temping my potatoes down, as you see I'm doing here with my rubber mini spatula. And it just helps settle the bottom layers down, so when you put the next layers on the top, everything kind of fits in together and you got a nice packed jar instead of having like gaps and spaces, and you don't want that. You want to have as much product in your jars as you can possibly get. So now I have all my quart jars. I am using quart jars filled up, and my canner takes 7 at a time. I am going to wipe my rims off, put my lids and rings on, and there is 1 inch of headspace. So now I have my potatoes in the canner with the required amount of water. I am doing quarts at 11 pounds of pressure for 40 minutes. So that's for my height above sea level. You have to know what you are above sea level for what pounds of pressure you need. So now skip ahead about 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half, 40 minutes processing time, and then you just let it cool completely till it comes down off of pressure, and your little valve releases your lid, and that's the only time you can open this. So I am going to open this and just leave it a little bit aside, so I'm not exposing my hot jars to my cold kitchen, and I'll leave it there for about 5 minutes. This is the final product that some with the skin on, some with the skin off. And I realized that I hadn't shown you the results before I put them all away. So basically, after I take them out of that pressure cooker, I set them on my counter on a dishcloth, and it's just a dishcloth or pad or whatever you have, because I don't like to set them on my cold counter because it might crack or shatter the jars because they are extremely hot when they come out of the pressure canner. That's another reason why I let them sort of acclimate by offsetting the top. And because my kitchen is very cold, I've said that before, but it's colder than the rest of the house by several degrees. And that's another reason why I put it on the dishcloth. And as you will see, I have the same problem, the siphoning. It's something that I deal with on a regular basis. I've tried several things to stop that, but it just doesn't seem to work for me. Some things are perfect, and other things you'll see, like this one, the water level is way down. I did 1 inch headspace on these, and yeah, it's probably about a good maybe 4 inches below that, 3 inches. Yeah, I'll say 2 inches below that, the inch level, which would be right here. So yeah, that's what the potatoes look like. All I did was wash up the jars, label them, date them, and they go into my cold room. I've got several of them, and someone also commented in my other video about something else I can do with them, and I'm going to try that, dehydrating them in the oven. So I'm going to try to do that and see how that works out. I'll let you know what that result is. But these I've used time and time again, and I've done them in the quart jars. These are the bigger ones. I was doing the pints before because that's all my small batch canner, my electric canner, could do. Pints and half pints. It couldn't fit quarts. So now that I can do quarts, it's great. I can can up more, hence the 150 pounds of potatoes that I got. And of course they were on sale at 20 cents a pound. I couldn't pass it up. So that's my potatoes, and I don't like the starch. I rinsed them, soaked them for quite a while before I put them in the jars, and I still have a lot of starch. So just bear that in mind. I guess when you do them raw, like I did, raw pack, instead of, blanching them for a minute or 2 or 30 seconds, whatever the suggested time is, you might get a lot of starch in your water. So yeah, I guess that's another drawback. But I like a sort of not so meshy result when I go to reheat these. But you see that? It's already starting to break down. So when I go to use these are going to be good for like mashed potatoes if that's what your end result is. But I want to do some sort of whole, use them sort of whole, sort of like, I don't know if you've done onions and potatoes, like the sort of chunky potatoes. That's what I like to do with these usually. I don't really like to do mashed potatoes. I mean, yeah, you could, but I like to use them sort of like in their size that they are right now. And I feel that if I blanch them before, they just become really mushy after the process. So that's my result for the potatoes. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. Thank you very much and have a great day.